Webb Simpson, how do you feel every year when the US Open comes around?
It's it's one of my favorite tournaments in the world. I mean, I think my if I had to pick three tournaments, I would say Masters, US Open, and Players. Those are my three favorite golf tournaments. But the US Open has always been special, even before I won, because it's the hardest test, both physically and mentally. And I love that. I love when par is a great score. I love when, you don't have to shoot 20 under par to win a golf tournament, let alone probably don't even have to shoot under par a lot of years. So I love it. It gets me fired up to have a grueling 4 days and test every part of my mind and body and swing.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at your results. 8 under at the CJ Cup, and you lost by what, 23 or something
Yeah.
to the crazy golfer.
Scottie Scheffler. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good, and I want to touch on him a little bit later. But this is maybe I can actually interview Scotty one day to talk about
Yeah.
Scotty more. But this is about you. So I'm interested. Uh, the reason I ask about that, kind of how you feel when the U.S. Open comes up, is there, is there like nostalgia? Is there, I don't know, regret's probably the wrong word. It's probably good memories. But is there anything like bittersweet about it coming up every year? Is there anything like that?
Well, it's funny you ask because I had the qualifier Monday, 2 days ago in Durham, and
Dude.
yeah, Duke, I missed by one. I'm second alternate, so probably not going to get in. And so it's bittersweet in the sense that it brings back incredible memories, especially from 2012 at Olympic Club. But I wish they had an exemption policy like the other majors. I mean, selfishly, it'd be great if I knew I was in the U.S. Open every year, like. The R&A awards the Open champion, the PGA of America awards the PGA champion, and then obviously Masters is almost a lifetime exemption, and they're all kind of in sync together. And so I wish the USGA did it the same way, and I made this argument last year. I said, look, you'd be dealing with about four people, myself, Tiger Woods, Jeff Ogilvy, Graham McDowell, maybe. And so they would still be in line with their, what they pride themselves in, which is about 75 open qualifying spots. So it'd only be four or five of those, and they still have 70 roughly. So I've made my argument. They don't love to change. And so, but it's all right. It's one of those things I always say, play better and things kind of work out in the game of golf.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, missing by one, that's I don't know. I see that as agonizing. I mean, you shot 72-66. I looked it up, and I mean, that's awesome. Like, that's a good run.
Yeah.
You gave it a good run to finish. I mean, is it agonizing to be one shot away from getting back to the thing that you won? Is it weird playing in a qualifier for something that you've won in the past? It's always strange seeing a major champion at a qualifier.
In the qualifier. I know it is weird. It was weirder last year, my first time doing it since 2011. But this year, I like the golf course, Duke's golf course, and I try to treat it like any other tournament. I thought, okay, we're gonna go up Sunday. We're not gonna be bitter that we have to qualify. We're not gonna complain. We did our work. We got a lot of really good work done Sunday, and I was fully prepared. And just because you prepare the way you want doesn't guarantee success, but it increases the probability of it. And so I felt like I did everything I could do to get ready for Monday. And unfortunately, I just had a bad stretch. I bogeyed 4, 5, 6 in the first round. And anytime you make a double bogey, which I doubled 14 in the first round, anytime you make a double bogey in any type of qualifier, it's gonna come back and get you. And sure enough, that was what got me.
What
So
was the deal with the double?
I hit it left. It's a par five converted to a par four. It's a long hole, 525, I think. I hit it in a bad spot off the tee and made a mess of it from there. But, other than that hole and the 4, 5, and 6, it was a good solid day. And so, it stinks. I want to go to Oakmont. I played there last time I was there, 2016. It's probably the hardest course I've ever played. So I wish I could be there, but I'm just gonna have to watch on TV like everybody else.
Yeah, you're good at hard courses. You're a
Yeah,
grinder. You're because what was your winning score, -1 or something like that?
I was actually one over.
One over. Wow,
Yep.
that's insane. Okay, have you played Olympic Club since then?
I haven't. I've only been out there one time.
Wow.
when
Okay.
the World Golf Championship match play, I believe it was at Harding Park, right across the way. I went out there and went back to 18 green, hit the chip that I
Yeah.
had, and
Yeah.
so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. That chip I was watching, I just looked at it this morning. It obviously it's been a minute since have seen that. That was was that chip, I don't know, the pass at the wedge, it seemed short and quick. Was that what you were going for? I mean, obviously there's incredible pressure there. Was it executed perfectly? You felt great and did it great, or was there like this is insane?
Yeah, I mean the second shot was a 9 iron, and you just can't miss it left of the pin. So I moved my target a little bit further over right. Pretty good shot, not as good as I wanted, and it ended up in a really weird lie. It was a old sprinkler head area. The ball had kind of sunk down in this hole, and the chip was pretty tough because it was so fast. And if you miss it long left, it would go down this walkway where all the players had walked that day. And I mean, it looked like it would go for 30 or 40 yards. So there was a huge risk factor involved. And the chip, when you have a lie like that that's sitting down like it was, it's somewhat of a guess on how it's going to come out. And I just wanted to make sure if I guessed wrong, it was going to be right of the hole.
Yeah.
And
Pretty
so,
short. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so the chip actually came out just the way I had hoped and
Mm.
planned and went to about 4 feet, and it was a left edge putt. And I was very nervous, but made it right in the middle. And yeah, and it ended up being good enough, thankfully.
Yes. Yeah, the crowd erupted when you made
Yeah.
that 4 foot. It was crazy. I was like, wow, it's
Yeah,
an insane. I mean, the amphitheater there is awesome. So yeah.
it is awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine there being any bad memories of US Open. This is a question that I kind of think of when I think of really good players. Do you think that you're a good golfer? Like, do you identify as a good golfer in your own
Absolutely.
self-identity? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Explain that more. Why do you do that?
Yeah, well, I think, I first started to think I'm a really good golfer when I was 15. I won the AJGA Rolex Tournament of Champions. So it was probably the biggest junior tournament besides the US Junior Am. So, I'm thinking, okay, the best players in the country are here, 18 and under. I'm 15, and I was able to win. And that kind of got me thinking I'm good enough to play college golf. Not arrogantly or pridefully, but more of just the reality. I could probably pick which college I want to go to if I'm able to win now. And that really propelled me to try to figure out where I was going to go to college very fast. Like I wanted to get it over with. And so I chose Wake Forest. Jerry Haas, the golf coach, was kind enough to offer me the Arnold Palmer Scholarship, which was a huge honor. I was a huge Arnold fan. And then, you're at a new level of college golfers. And I was probably more surprised than I realized that everyone is so good in college golf. Like it's just a whole nother level. And then you leave college golf and you turn pro. And it's like most of the mini tour players are better than the college golfers. And then you got Corn Ferry, then you got PGA Tour. So I think I always believed I was good enough to get to the next level. It's just a matter of how long will it take me to get to the next level. And even Jerry Haas, my college coach, said that I made it on the PGA Tour my first try from Q school, and he was surprised I made it my first try.
Thanks,
And he
Jerry.
wasn't saying it in a mean way. He's just like,
Yeah.
it's tough, and you did great to making your first try. So I was thankful I got out here or out on the PGA Tour as fast as I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think every golfer has different levels of confidence. Some guys walk around like they're the best player ever. Some guys maybe have some insecurity. I feel like I've had it all. I feel like
Mm.
I've struggled to believe I'm good enough to be one of the best players, and other times I feel like, man, I'm the guy to beat this week. And it just confidence in golf kind of comes and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, with confidence, how do you build confidence? Is there a sustainable way to build confidence? Is it results based? Is this based on something else?
Yeah, so my sports psych and I, we worked really hard on this. He said there's two types of confidence. There's situational confidence. So you shoot 64, you're probably going to be pretty confident. You make three birdies in a row, you're probably going to be pretty confident. But he would say the other type and the more important type is called dispositional confidence, which is something that you've built over a long period of time.
Yes.
So he would say situational, we will take, we'll put in our back pocket, but we're not going to build our mental framework around situational because, like Monday, my qualifier, I made 3 bogeys in a row. Am I all of a sudden going to be not as confident? No. I've prepared Sunday. I prepared even before that. Dispositional is something that I've built over a long period of time. And so it's kind of like if you think about a house, if a house is well built and something small cracks, you're not going to think, oh my gosh, this is a terrible house. But you'll think, no, this is a well built house. This is a small problem. I'll fix it. And so that's kind of our framework for confidence, which has helped me a lot.
Right, so you kind of think of it as I've built this foundation over a long period of time. Is that practice? Is it a combo of practice and past results? Is it,
Yes.
yeah, is it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the most confident that I can be ideally is where I've had a lot of prep and I've done everything I can do to prepare. Plus, I'm playing well, but we can't rely again on how am I playing to be confident. That's ideal. And so, what can I control is how I prepare. Am I fully prepared for this moment? And if I am, and even if I'm not feeling perfect mentally, at least I'm prepared. And we had another principle, it's called the 100% principle, which says athletes are rarely 100% physically and mentally. And so instead of thinking I'm not at 100%, think I'm going to get 100% out of whatever percent I'm at today.
Yeah.
And so that's a great kind of subtle look away from having to be perfect, like for all the perfectionists out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can be perfect. I can give 100% out of my 90 today. And so that kind of I think it frees me up to not be so up and down with exactly the level I'm at today.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
mean, you read as a I mean, you're hitting me this morning with like incredible energy and optimism. You just read as a incredibly energetic person who never gets down on themselves. I'm sure you do.
yeah,
What are we're talking about building confidence. What puts you down into the trough? Maybe it's golf wise. I don't
yeah,
expect you to talk about your personal life, but what puts you down there that really bottoms out your confidence?
yeah. I think the hardest part is when you're putting in really good work and you feel like you have the right team around you and you're doing the right things and you're not seeing fruit. I think that is the hardest challenge to motivation. It's really easy to be motivated when you're seeing fruit from your work because you just keep doing it. And when you don't see fruit, I think that's the part that you really have to dig deep and you got to keep going. And if there needs to be changes in your process, make them. But if you feel like your process that you've put in place is really good and that is the road and ingredients to success, then you got to keep working the plan. I mean, that is, I think, what makes good people great and great people elite is the ability to stay the course when things are tough. Because anybody at the level of PJ Tour is going to shoot 65 and, be able to work hard. But can you work hard and can you work smart when things aren't going your way? And instead of throwing in the towel, you keep grinding it out. And I think that's the mark of a true champion that you're going to figure it out and you're going to stay patient even though it's so hard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's what I've had to do.
Right, it's easy, yeah, like you said, it's easy to it's not hard to respond to when things are going great, it's hard to respond when
Yeah,
things are going tough. So yeah,
correct.
that's more resilient
Yeah,
kind of confidence.
exactly.
Yeah. Do you feel like your best golf is behind you or ahead of you?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
To be honest, it could be behind me. I could have some a crazy run in front of me. I feel like I'm 39 and I feel great. I'm hitting it as far as ever. I'm starting to drive it straight again, which is kind of my secret weapon a lot of my career where I played great. I'm very confident with the putter. It's just can I put it all together for 4 days? And that's been my problem. I've had more good rounds than I've had in the last couple of years lately, but I need to put it all together for 4 days. And that's what, you know, for me to contend for a tournament, you got to be consistent in that tournament. And I just haven't shown that. So I'd like for there to be incredible golf ahead. And I think I am going to get on another run where I play high level golf for a long period of time, but hadn't happened yet, so I'm still working on that.
Yeah, and I know that's it doesn't you can't know that, right? I asked
Right.
that question to be kind of just poking at
Yeah.
you, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard. You have to. Do you feel like you got to have kind of a, I don't know, not blind optimism, but do you feel like you have to say, Scotty talks about this all the time. Is like, I don't really get too ahead of myself. People talk
Right.
comparing him to Tiger and whatever. I don't get ahead of myself, whatever. I just kind of do my thing. Do you kind of have to have the kind of, I want to say like not dumb, but
Yeah.
like I just see ball, hit ball. Like, do you have to have that kind of thing to keep going?
Yeah, I think so. As long as you're really organized with what you're doing and how you're going about it, I definitely resonate with like his simple mentality. The simpler I'm thinking about the game and the simpler I'm thinking on the golf course, the better I play. Like it's so easy to complicate things. It's so easy to add, you know, 8 or 9 non-essential things that you feel like you need to work on. It just complicates the process. So yeah, I think when you get out Thursday through Sunday for us golfers, the less I can, it's almost like you want to think less thoughts but be laser focused. And so you don't want to be like spacey out there, but you want to be relaxed while being focused, which is kind of a tough balance to find, but that's the best golf I've played when I've kind of been in that mindset.
Do you have to like pop in, pop out for a shot, you, like get lasered in for a shot and then relax? Is that kind
For
of how you
sure. I
feel about
mean,
it?
it's we're out there 5 hours in competition, and I think the amount of time we're like over a golf shot is like 2 minutes or something. Somebody did a study one time of like actually how much time are we kind of
Right,
in the moment, and it's
right.
hardly any time. And so, yeah, that's why my caddy and I've always needed a caddy to be able to have commonalities with because I gotta have stuff to talk about out there. Otherwise, I think mental mistakes will come when you don't give your brain a rest and you don't look around and, kind of enjoy the day. If you're just locked in the entire time, I think it'll cause for some mistakes late in the round.
Yeah, I mean, your brain wears out, tires
It
out, just
wears
like a
out
muscle. Yeah.
for sure.
Do you or the best players in the world along with you, do you guys think about your processes? I mean, I live in this world of always trying to think about, pre-shot routines and these things. Do you actually like sit down and think about these things? And I know you work with a sports psych, so I don't know. I guess the question I'm trying to get at is how much do you think about your own mental game as you're playing between rounds? How much do the best players in the world think about their processes, their pre-shot routines and stuff like that?
I think a lot. I think um, it's something that you definitely work. It's one of the first things you work on, or that I did with my sports psych, because you're preparing to hit a putt or a chip or a full swing. And for some guys, their routine's the same all the way through the bag. Mine's a little different. Like I take one practice swing with my full shots. I take two practice swings with like my short game shots, and then no practice swings with my putting. And all that's designed to get me to the most relaxed place possible. There's definitely reasons behind why I do what I do for all three different shots. And Tiger Woods, one of the best putters ever in his prime, took two practice strokes every time. But the research shows that a lot of great putters have no practice strokes.
Yeah.
I used to have a few practice strokes, kind of like Brant Snedeker, those quick, kind of looking at the hole. I changed to a couple practice strokes like Tiger, and then I went to none. And when I went to no practice strokes, I got a lot better. And so all of it's designed to get us to the best, most relaxed state, I think. That's how I think about it. But the routine is also there to serve us. My sports psych always said, you don't serve the routine is there to serve you. It's kind of like
Hmm.
the Sabbath, as Christians
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
the Sabbath, like man's not made for the Sabbath is made for man. It's for our
Right.
good. I don't want to be a slave to my routine, but my routine is meant to serve me. Like if I'm playing with my buddies at Quail Hollow today, you know, it's one thing, but coming down the stretch of a golf tournament when I'm really nervous, if I go through the same routine, I'm telling my brain that there's nothing different about this situation. It's what I do all the time. And
Yeah.
so it kind of relaxes the brain, kind of tricks the brain, honestly, to think, oh, this is what I do all the time.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's kind of
comforting. It
cool.
feels like
Yeah,
home, like a warm blanket that you carry
correct.
with you in the middle of the difficult situation. Yeah.
100%.
That's awesome. Do you do Do you, or I'm curious if anyone you see does this, like a mental scorecard type of thing where you're
Yeah.
grading yourself on your routine? Do you do something like that?
Yes, it's more comprehensive. So I do it what is called a feedback sheet after every tournament.
Oh, cool.
And the feedback sheet basically gets me to sit down for about an hour and I go through every round. A lot of times I'll do it after each round, so it doesn't take a full hour at the end of the tournament. But I'm basically looking at all things emotional, mental, and physical about the golf tournament. How I did my routine is one of those things mentioned in the feedback sheet where I'm kind of grading myself, 1 to 5, 5 being excellent, one being terrible. Hopefully, there's not a lot of ones. Three is average. So if some things are just average, you put a three. If some things are excellent, it's a five. So I go through that, and that really helped, I think, stay on top of not only what I need to work on, but it reinforced the good things that I did. And so that, there's power in writing stuff down. There's power in meditating on something that just happened where it's fresh. And so that really helped me grow, and it helped me like kind of zero in on, okay, I didn't do these couple of things that well this tournament. What can I actually do practically between now and next week before the next tournament to improve those? So it really helped me stay on top of my progress.
So you mentioned playing with guys at Quail today. How much of all these things do you do? I'll call it a casual round, but I'm sure it's anything but casual. But how much of these things are you laser focused on? I'm doing my pre-shot routine every time. I'm holding myself to the same standard, or do you relax it a little bit? How do you do quote unquote
Yeah,
casual
that's a
rounds?
great question. I mean, I would say I'm definitely more relaxed when it's a non-tournament, but my sports psychologist wanted me to treat every even practice round, every round as if it was the real thing. And so I might play a little quicker because there's less stuff going on when I'm playing with my buddies. We're in a cart, we might hit out a turn, all those little things, but I am going through my routine the same. I'm reading putts the same. I'm trying to commit the same as if I'm in a tournament. So you're not going to get the exact same feelings, but you can make it pretty close to how you would feel in a tournament. And that's the hope. You get as many reps as possible
Yeah,
feeling that way.
yeah. And do you, I mean, does it ever, I mean, I guess you're a professional, right? This is your job, right? So it's
Right.
not, it shouldn't come as a surprise that, this is a work day for you, right? It's a Wednesday as we're recording this. It's a work day. And so you show up and go to work. It's golf, so it's enjoyable, right? It's not
Right.
miserable, I would hope.
Right.
But
It's not miserable.
okay, good. Yeah, so you show up and it's an awesome environment for work, but it's work. Do you think
Hmm.
about it like that? Do you think about like punching the clock, clocking in, clocking out?
Yeah. It feels more like work on, practice days at home or Monday through Wednesdays on the road. When it comes to Thursday through Sunday and it's a tournament, it doesn't feel like work. Like that's when I get excited. I get excited to compete. That feels more like enjoyable, even though
Nice.
there's a high level of focus and,
Stress.
yeah, stress and, it's tiring. That's my favorite part. I don't love Monday through Wednesdays on the road. That feels like task oriented, got to get these things done. And so, yeah, those are a drag for me and have become that way as I've
Yeah.
gotten older. So I just look forward to the whistle going off and we get to actually compete.
Yeah. What things drag you down? Like why is it so weird? I mentioned miserable. That sounds kind of
Yeah.
miserable. But what gets you down? Like what's going on there?
um, I think it's more of just, it's more of work related in terms of task. Like I got to go play a practice round. I got to
Yeah.
get we got to get all of our practice round info recorded. I got to work on my golf swing. I got to learn the greens. I got to work on my speed. It feels like all drill kind of stuff versus Thursday through Sunday is drills are done, working on the golf swings done. You know the golf course now. Uh, and let's go see if the work you've put in, let's see if it's going to pay off. Let's see if there's fruit from it. And that's a really satisfying feeling when you've been working really hard, you've put in the time, and man, this this matters because I got to record a score and I'm hitting it well or I'm making putts, and that's a great feeling I think as a pro golfer.
That's so interesting because I think we all see pro golfers as you're a golfer.
Hmm.
How could any of it ever be miserable? But
Mhm.
the fact that it's a job, I mean, it's just like, for me, the equivalent would be like answering emails, doing who like checking boxes, doing whatever. But then this interview, like the prep of it and this interview, this is like the Thursday through Sunday,
Yeah,
right? So that's how I feel about it. I wish I was out on a golf course for my
right.
Thursday through Sunday. But the it's not all, rainbows and butterflies, right? There's difficult things that you have to do that
Mhm.
prepare you, but aren't necessarily enjoyable. So, did those things ever has that always been the way it is? Do you need to like them? Like, are you trying to work on liking them more?
I think that's a good question. I think it's just part of life. Flying in an airplane now, staying in hotels, that is way less enjoyable than it used to be, and I think that's just a matter of having done it so long and kinda getting tired of being on the road, missing home, missing my family. Um, I think there's definitely creative ways where I can make like practice rounds or programs fun. And I try to do that, have a challenging bet with my caddy, X amount of birdies. I'm buying dinner or he's buying dinner, that kind of thing. I think, or, something I do is I'll have a checklist every day. Like I want to accomplish these 4 to 5 things today. Like, so that gives me a focus on, okay, these tasks, if I get these done, I'm going to feel good about the work that I put in. And that really helps me not just go through a mundane day where it feels monotonous, but it actually, there's some purpose to it. Like it's work, but there's purpose to it, and I'm going to feel good when I'm done. So, yeah, I think just 15 years on tour, certain things have become less shiny and less fun. Whereas when I first turned pro, everything was new, everything was fun. I wanted to be at the golf course all day. Definitely doesn't feel that way anymore, but it's not terrible. It's just not the same.
Yeah. I mean, it's maybe more satisfying or rewarding that you got it done rather than this is
Yeah,
fun, right? The actual
right.
rounds are like, man, this is fun. Like this is where I belong.
Correct. Yeah,
And there's also deep joy and satisfaction there too. So
for sure.
that's cool. Yeah, it's not everything is bubbly and fun, right?
Right.
But it can be rewarding. Okay.
Yeah, I remember a conversation I had with my sisters early in my career. Not too early. It was probably 4 or 5 years in, but they asked me which hotel I was staying in, and I honestly couldn't remember the hotel. It ended up being like a Ritz Carlton, right? And one of them made a comment like, "Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable." And I told her, I'm like, honestly, like it doesn't mean anything to me because it has a bed and a TV like any other hotel, and it's not my home, and like I want to be home. And I just remember thinking like, whoa, like I've been on the road a lot for this to not matter at all. Like Hampton Inn or Ritz Carlton, it doesn't really matter because I'm not in my home. And
Yeah.
so that's when I realized, okay, I think that old gruffy veteran is starting to set in
Right,
of
man.
just tired of the road and
Yeah.
wish I was home.
Yeah. That's a privileged place to be, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So that actually makes me wonder, you've been incredibly successful over your careers, earnings, wins, whatever. Is there a temptation or have you gotten comfortable? Is there a temptation to coast? Anything like that?
Yes, I think, when you're looking at the young talent on the PGA Tour, they're fresh out of college, they're hungry as can be. They're going to do anything and everything they can to beat you and then take your spot in the tournament. So I think seeing their motivation is actually inspiring because I think in any field, if you have had success for a while, the drive for success can be harder. But as a Christian, I think it's helped me so much to have kind of the mentality, 1 Corinthians 10:31, whatever you do in word or deed, do it all for the glory of God. I'm
Mm.
paraphrasing.
Mhm.
That the idea of God has given me a talent. I don't want to waste it. And I don't even want to just get by. I want to glorify him with that unique gift. And so what does that look like? One of those things is hard work. It's taking care of the gift. And so I think a lazy Christian is an oxymoron because if we really believe that God has given us gifts for his glory and our enjoyment, we should work hard. In fact, the Christian should work as hard as anyone because of that. My motivation to work hard isn't for money or for stuff or for fame. Like my ultimate motivation is that I would please the Lord with the gift he gave me. And yes, Like my gift does pay the bills. And yes, my gifting does afford us to be able to, for me to take my family on a trip. Those things are great. But if that's the end, then I don't think I'll ever have satisfaction in my work. But I do have satisfaction in my work knowing, okay, I glorify God, I worked hard. And that's the beauty of a Christian as well with work is you can rest and be at peace with the results if you have worked hard and if you've like honored him along the way. Whereas I feel like a non-Christian would struggle to, they would only seem to be satisfied if the results were really good, like all the
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Because where's their motivation coming from? And it could be from an array of places, but for us, it's let's glorify God with the gift. And what I mean, Westminster Catechism says, chief end of man is to glorify God and enjoy him forever. And I love John Piper edited the word and he said by. The chief end of man is to glorify God by enjoying him forever. So when we enjoy God, we glorify him. And I think the same is with work. When we work hard, we glorify God and it feels good to work hard.
Yes.
It's hard, that's why it's called hard work, but it feels good. So that's kind of my
Yeah.
work spiel as a Christian.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you're being driven by a bigger thing outside of yourself, right?
Correct.
That's
Correct.
beautiful. I relate a lot to that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate you saying
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do, do you since the U.S. Open, did your expectations of yourself
Mm.
change after
Hmm.
that? Did you? Because we're kind of talking about, no, I work hard. I have these processes.
Hmm.
I stay consistent to these things. It's satisfying. I get joy out of working hard for the Lord. All those things. But did you change after the U.S. Open? Anything about
Well,
you?
it was really cool because Martin Keimer won the 2011 PGA Championship at Whistling Straits. He went to number one in the world. And a few months later, I remember reading an article because he did not play great golf after that for a little while. He kind of got on a bad run. In the article, he said that when he won the PGA Championship and he became number one in the world, he kind of thought of himself as a different golfer. And he put this expectation on himself as, okay, the number one golfer in the world would do this or wouldn't do this. And that started shaping how he went about his process. And he just kind of made the point like he wished he would have just kept doing what got him to number one in the world. And I read that right around the US Open. And I remember thinking, okay, just because I won the US Open and I went to whatever fifth in the world or sixth in the world, I'm not really any different of a golfer than I was a week ago. But it's kind of like back to Dr. Silva, my sports psych, who said situational confidence. I will take the confidence from the US Open, but it's not really going to alter my dispositional confidence and who I am as a person. And so I remember I flew home from the US Open, spent about 24 hours at home, and then I flew up to Hartford, Connecticut for the Travelers Championship. And I really thought about Martin Keimer a lot and his words. And so I just made it a point to continue to do what I've been doing. I didn't introduce any new things. I didn't try harder or try less. And that really helped because I played a nice, consistent, high level of golf the next few years. And so thanks to Martin learning through his kind of failure of changing his process, it really helped me to stay focused on what got me to where I was.
Yeah, and Martin, I think, used his own help advice to come
Yeah,
back and win the U.S. Open. So he
correct.
got back to who he was before the
Exactly.
ascent that he had. That's
In
awesome.
the Players Championship, which was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and U.S. Open Pinehurst, right?
Pinehurst, yep,
Yeah,
2014.
yeah.
That's it.
So that's I love that. So I mean, if we could draw a theme out of this, it's I there are things that I have to do in golf that are work, but
Hmm.
I do them even if I don't always want to do them. I do them because they help me and I know they will help me and I do
Yep,
them for a bigger purpose. I do them
correct.
because excellence is and effort is what's more important than results.
Correct. You
Yeah.
know what? It's if something's worth doing, it's worth doing well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel that way like I want my kids, I have five kids. I want my kids to see their dad work hard. I want them to see their dad not be down all the time. Even right now, like I think, my mentor said to me, they're gonna see and emulate what you do a lot more than what you say.
Yeah.
So if they know I'm struggling right now in my game, they know it's been a bad run for a couple of years from what they were used to seeing. And so I know they're watching me closer than it might appear. And so I'm trying to give them kind of a framework of, a hard worker, someone who doesn't stay down too much, who keeps going. I mean, that's the God we serve. He didn't give up on us. He pursued us, and so I want them to see that in me, and I expect that of myself. Like my dad, early on in life, like poured into me this idea of you will never quit. Like we do not quit. And I remember asking him, like, Dad, what if I shoot like 51 on the front nine? Can I like withdraw from the tournament? He goes, I don't care if you shoot 61. You don't withdraw unless you're hurt or sick.
Yeah.
And uh, and so yeah, that's exactly the theme. Take care of your craft with excellence is something we say a lot around here.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of excellence, I can't get out of here without asking you, Scotty Scheffler, what does he do different? I know I think you would call him a friend. I'm not real sure,
Yes,
but okay, yeah.
absolutely a friend.
Friend with Scotty. Yeah, I can see that connection. What does he do different that better or different than everyone else?
Well, I think Jordan Spieth said something recently. I might have said it a few days ago. A buddy of mine told me this, that he said Scotty Scheffler has better control of his club face than anybody in the game by far. And, to the golf listeners out there who maybe listen to this who don't know exactly what that means, here's what it means. That Scotty, like the club face control, like where the face is aiming, is everything. And not only that, but the path in relation to the face is everything. Scotty, he hits less bad shots than anyone else in the game, and the reason he does that is because he knows and feels and understands his face control so well. That's why I think his distance control is so good and elite. But Scotty said in an interview after he won the CJ Cup in Dallas few weeks ago that what he loves about the game of golf so much is that he feels like he can always get a little better. And I think that's such a key for anyone in life for anything they want to be good at is knowing I always want to improve. And it's not a perfectionist mentality that can be crippling, like I'm never good enough. It's more of like having eyes to see like, okay, I'm really good at this. I can get better.
We'll get
And it's
better.
like never settling for just being good. Like Scotty wants to be better and better and better. And I think that's a cool motivator that he has. And he's hard to beat. He's very hard to beat right now.
Kidding. Yeah, it's inspiring though, the way he goes
Yeah, it's
about it.
very inspiring. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, Webb, thank you so much for your time, man. This has been awesome.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.